solution. We need to adopt an approach that replaces complexity with simplicity. It's more than just strength, speed, agility, and intelligence. Allow me to give you a brief demonstration of the capabilities of the Cisco IPS. It all starts with threat intelligence. Now, we all know that a typical IPS engineer starts the day with a cup of coffee and a look at the news, specifically news about which signatures have been firing in the network to determine the current threats to the organization. At Cisco, our IPS research teams do exactly the same thing, only they do it on a global basis, and they focus on different aspects of security. Applied Intelligence, IntelliShield threats, IPS signatures, PCERT, these are some of the teams that we have at Cisco. In other words, we've got a bigger perspective and more person power than the typical IPS engineer. What you're seeing here is data that is updated daily and shows the top 5 signatures firing around the world. But we do this detection in a very sophisticated way. We derive all of our data from all of the Cisco sensors in the field. And because Cisco has such a large footprint, the data is very comprehensive. Combine that with round-the-clock surveillance plus automated tools, and just like you, that lets us dig through the data to find the interesting nuggets and stop emerging threats before they can affect your business. Though our customers won't ever see this screen, they're able to derive the benefits of all our work. We use this data to build reputation scores and a signature database that's unparalleled among intrusion prevention providers. If SQL signature activity has been increasing, we know and can look into it for new trends and vulnerabilities. Using all this data, we're able to publish a quarterly threat report. It's the analysis of data over the course of a year. This data allows us to spot trends and develop systems that respond to them before the bad stuff happens. It allows us to get specific, and it's made possible due to the efforts and intelligence of our research staff. So our customers get access, first, to intelligence reports just like this one. Second, IntelliShield provides up-to-date threat information. And third, we aggregate this data to form a reputation rating. At senderbase.org, you can check a URL to see its reputation. We get reputation scores for a good part of the internet in real time. The impact of this is mostly felt on the internet edge, but we're the first IPS to integrate this technology into our offering. But there's more. Cisco IPS is the broadest and best because it also takes advantage of research performed for other technologies, like email and web content filtering. It turns out there's a high correlation between all three. Advanced Inspection Protection is the perfect example of how Cisco IPS is always up to date, providing coverage and efficacy beyond traditional IPS approaches. If you've worked with IPS before, this will all seem familiar to you. Think of it this way. You do everything you can do to protect your network, but imagine for a minute that someone on the outside has found a hole you're not even aware of, and the hackers, spammers, and black hats out there are trying to pitch a baseball through it. Traditional IPS, with its anomaly detection, defends against this assault by determining the kind of pitch, fastball, curveball, knuckleball, and taking measures to stop it. Our approach is a bit different. We just plug the hole so nothing gets through. That's our definition of coverage, and it works so well, we're able to back it with a service level agreement. Allow me to show you how this works. Let's consider an RPC overflow attack. This is a fairly common means of exploiting a hole in Microsoft Windows to steal passwords or execute arbitrary code. First, we'll turn the IPS off and run the attack. Metasploit starts up and immediately triggers a vulnerability in the remote system. It dumps the password hashes from the victim and then cracks the password hash using a brute force rainbow table method. And you can see in just a few seconds we have the administrator password for this system and have completely compromised it. Now let's re-enable the Cisco IPS and launch the attack again. Metasploit starts again and attempts to connect to exploit the vulnerability. This time the exploit fails because the Cisco IPS has blocked the attack. Let's go see what happened. Cisco IPS is equipped with a tool called IPS Manager Express that provides more detail into the type of attack. This log displays the attack that just took place and that it was denied. That's one example of protection against a specific vulnerability. But what if you're trying to protect against more generalized attacks? In the next example, we'll use an SQL injection. SQL injection is one of the most common attacks out there. While an RPC overflow is easy to discern because it's a very specific type of attack and it's easy to patch, an SQL injection is a type of vulnerability any web application could be liable to. First, we'll disable the Cisco IPS. In this example, we're using a typical password recovery page in Internet Explorer. We all know the drill. You enter your email address so that the system can send you your password. This system asks a security question to validate your identity. Don't know the answer? The system returns an invalid message. But instead of entering an email address, a hacker could insert an SQL injection string. This tricks the database. And instead of asking the security question, it just spits out the user's password. Now we'll go back and turn the IPS back on. When we submit the SQL injection string again, with the IPS on this time, the browser hangs and nothing happens. Let's go back into the Cisco IPS Manager Express to see what happened this time. As you can see, the IPS detected SQL in the HTTP request. This was a low severity event and could be benign, but it also detected that SQL query was an SQL injection attempt. This is a high severity event and was automatically dropped by the IPS. I hope these two examples give you a good idea of the coverage and efficacy of Cisco IPS. Finally, I'd like to tell you more about our reputation technology, the component that really distinguishes Cisco IPS from other traditional approaches. At Cisco, we use reputation technology in our own network. So what you're going to see here is a sample of a real IPS in the Cisco network detecting traffic coming from the internet. Let me show you how reputation works in IPS Manager Express, our management tool for up to 10 IPS devices. The IPS Manager is receiving data from a live Cisco sensor that's scanning real traffic coming to Cisco. This allows us to provide global correlation information, another aspect of reputation technology that helps determine that often hard to pin down level of grayness. Is the traffic good or bad? That's not really the question. What's the probability that this is going to cause me harm? That's a much more useful metric. What we see here is the same signature firing over and over again. Sometimes when it fires from a source with a moderate reputation, and sometimes from a source with a bad reputation. The red ones, the ones from the source with a bad reputation, are getting dropped. The others are not. Why? This is a medium severity signature. It may or may not be an attack. If it's coming from a site with a bad reputation, it's more likely to be an attack, so we drop those. But if it's coming from a site with a good reputation, it could be legitimate traffic. What we've found is that reputation is a highly effective determinant when applied correctly. In fact, it's twice as effective as previous approaches. What you see here is the combined effort of reputation technology. While traditional IPS methods alone only account for a small percentage of malicious attacks identified, and reputation filtering, which blocks based solely on reputation, takes care of a few more. It's the combination of the two technologies that really gives a boost to the effectiveness of the system. That combination, called global correlation, is unique to Cisco. The point is that reputation influences the vast majority of the traffic in the system, and because it's embedded in our approach, we're able to filter out more of the bad stuff with a much higher probability of success, and without blocking your business-critical applications by mistake. Cisco's reputation technology provides a faster, smarter, better view of what's going on, with updates every 15 minutes and protection against zero-day threats. Reputation technology, global correlation, Cisco integration, when it comes to security, no one else can offer this package, ensuring that your business is never left vulnerable.